All right, and we should mention that Ryan Rishaug did talk to Oilers head coach Chris Knoblauch, and he kind of danced around the whole benching Leon for a couple of shifts in the third period. Frankie, is this even that big of a deal?
No, definitely not a big deal, Jay. Like, at the end of the day, all these players and these coaches, all they want to do is win games and eventually get back and have an opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. Yes, that's further down the road, but this is just something that happens in the heat of the moment, and it's nice to know that if you try and hold a player accountable, he's going to answer back the way that Leon Draisaitl and the star players for the Oilers did tonight.
Okay, Frankie, here's my next question for you. Would you say that Sean Couturier running into Stuart Skinner was the TSN turning point of this early Edmonton Oilers season?
100%, Jay. And you know what it did? It injected some emotion and some passion into this game, something that's been desperately needed from the Edmonton Oilers and we didn't really see throughout the first 3 games of the regular season. And it's understandable considering the emotional high that they would have had chasing the Stanley Cup last spring, and they haven't been able to find that. But in this game, the opportunity presented itself, and it's Sean Couturier who runs into Stuart Skinner, and then you get a smaller opponent in Troy Stetcher going after Sean Couturier, a very spirited affair, and then Corey Perry fights the very next shift right off the face-off. And I think if you're one of the better players on that team, if you're the star players, and you see guys lower in the lineup that are willing to have that kind of energy and that passion and that emotion, that sends a message to you that the rest of your team is ready to get engaged, and now you have to as well. And that's what we saw. We saw the big boys come to life, and Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Evan Bouchard. So I think that energy spark from the guys lower in the lineup provided a spark offensively for the big boys, and the Edmonton Oilers can thank Sean Couturier for getting the ball rolling on that.
The Oilers will now hit the road. They'll face the Predators in the Music City on Thursday, trying to get that second win of the season. Frankie's going to stand by and talk to us about the Canucks and Bolts a little later in the show. Back once again with our friend Frankie Corrado. So, Frankie, the Canucks remain winless on the season. Maybe the bigger concern might be the slow start for Elias Pettersson, because you and I have talked about this. Rough end of last season for Elias Pettersson. Rough postseason. A quick start out of the gate would have made a lot of Canucks fans very happy, considering that contract extension just kicked in. What do you make of EP's slow start, and do you see anything that concerns you overall about his game?
Jay, right now he looks like a player who's trying to think his way through things. Nothing really looks instinctual for him. And I think that is leading to making the wrong decisions at times. And watching tonight's game, I can't fault the effort. Like, you can see that there's signs that maybe it's starting to turn the corner for him. But this is a guy who's getting paid to be one of the best players in the NHL. He has to find that level of play, which he had for the first half and maybe even a little more of last season. You know, when you talk about the game that he's playing right now, he's not the fastest player, but he looks slow. And then it looks like his decision-making is a little bit slow as well. These are not things that you generally want to be saying about your number one center and a guy who's supposed to be a big-time point producer for this team. And so if Pettersson doesn't get going to the level that he should be playing at, then the Vancouver Canucks are very likely going to have a little bit of a points recession. Nothing super significant, but at some point, it looks like he has to turn from a player who's thinking his way through the game, who just is instinctually playing his game and making the right decisions so he can help his team.
Vancouver's still looking for that first one of the season. It doesn't get any easier for them. They will head to Florida. I guess they're in Florida because they played in Tampa. They'll head to Sunrise to face the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers. That'll be on Thursday. This is Frankie Corrado.